Check out this headline from Cornell University. Cats caught coronavirus from owners during the early pandemic. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Oz. We thought about it, we talked about it, and now this article confirms our suspicions. Cats were in fact infected with the COVID virus, mainly from us humans. This article references a recent paper published from the International Journal of Infectious Diseases confirming cats caught COVID from us humans. The reverse, cats passing COVID to humans, was unlikely. This paper is interesting because there really aren't many studies on COVID in cats, especially during the early days of the pandemic. This retrospective study was done in a small animal vet clinic close to a large human medical center that was treating the initial U.S. wave of severe COVID-19 cases. The location is key because, and I quote, "Given the dense population of both humans and pets in this area, our findings provide key insights into the prevalence and characteristics of COVID infection in domestic cats during the initial outbreak phase." Now that the stage is set, here are a few important points from the paper. This study found a really high percentage, like 44% of cats with COVID antibodies from the fall of 2020. And this paralleled a surge of human COVID-19 cases in that area at that time. This was primarily seen with indoor-only cats and at a time when human social contact was restricted. That percentage drops down to 16% of cats during the entire length of the study from June 2020 to May 2021. And these percentages to date are the highest reported of any study. This is why retrospective studies like this one are so important. Something happens, this is what we think is going on. Now we can definitely say cats were infected with COVID. So we have a ton of indoor-only cats living with their owners that aren't really leaving their homes too much, testing positive for COVID antibodies. What this study did not address was specifically how these cats got COVID, how the human owners were exposed to COVID, like their occupation, and the owner's health status at the time was not gathered. So we really can't comment on how these indoor-only cats were exposed to COVID. The key, though, is the location, right near a major medical facility handling a lot of human COVID cases. Some cats may have been exposed and never developed antibodies. To date, we don't know how many cats, when they are exposed to the natural COVID virus, become infected and, in response to that infection, make COVID antibodies. Even in the early days, when we really didn't know much about anything, we really didn't sound too many alarm bells in regards to cats and COVID. There was one big concern though, and that was cat parents would throw their cats out on the street for fear their cat may give them COVID. Even though that may be hard to hear and sound a little ridiculous now, remember back to those early days of the pandemic, there was a lot of fear and uncertainty. We were stockpiling toilet paper even though we had showers. Now we know cats do not really pose a risk to us humans, but back then it wasn't so clear. Quoting the paper, "The public health risk for cats is now considered low, and while transmission back to humans can occur, this is rare." Also during that time, if a cat so much as sneezed, we all perked up and paid attention. Any cat with any respiratory issue made us all a little nervous. Today, if a cat has respiratory symptoms, and we are all familiar with those symptoms listed here, I only consider COVID in a cat if a human has it and that human is showing symptoms. Otherwise, these symptoms can be present with many other illnesses, and common things happen commonly, like herpes virus. But back then, COVID was on everyone's mind, and the study also showed that just having COVID antibodies did not necessarily mean a cat would have respiratory signs, showing only 2 cats with high levels of COVID antibodies also having symptoms. One thing I noticed during this time was a significant increase in the number of cats with FIP. Before the pandemic, I maybe had 1 or 2 a year, but during the pandemic, that number increased very quickly to double digits. So in my brain, coronavirus causing COVID, coronavirus can mutate into FIP. There has to be a connection. And I wasn't the only one. Many of us wondered if there was a link between the coronavirus causing COVID and the coronavirus mutating into FIP. Well, This study addressed that as well. In our study, we observed a high percentage, almost 51%, of the coronavirus that causes FIP in owned domestic cats. The vast majority of these cats were indoor only, often living alone with their owner or just with one other cat. The study suggested that because of this, cats were likely exposed to the coronavirus that causes FIP prior to being exposed to COVID, when they were adopted from shelters or purchased from breeders, environments known to have many more cats. Furthermore, they really do not think there is cross-reactivity between the two. That's when one virus, say the coronavirus that can mutate into FIP, will cause a positive result on a different test, say the COVID coronavirus test. But still, I wonder. The age, breed, and sex of a cat does not seem to matter whether or not a cat gets COVID. The big takeaway from this study, which we kind of already knew, but it's good to prove, is that although this study did not address aspects of viral shedding, our results suggest that cats were highly susceptible to COVID infections during the early pandemic and were able to make antibodies against COVID upon infection. Highly susceptible. Cats definitely can get it. Fortunately, most cats don't show any symptoms once infected. Instead, they're considered a dead-end host. That's where the virus goes into the body, doesn't cause too many problems, and that's it. To date, we really don't think cats played a big role in transmitting COVID to humans, even though there have been a few cases showing otherwise. And an even bigger point is that the study emphasizes the importance of considering companion animals, particularly cats, in the broader epidemiological landscape of infectious disease risk. In other words, if you want to protect the human population, make sure you are looking at our pets, especially when addressing and studying public health concerns. That's it from Meow. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video.